Hey, what is going on, Twintendo Nation? Hope you're having an awesome day. Now, in one of my most recent Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon videos, I looked at my top 10 hopes for the games, and these hopes were basically what I'd like to see in the game, but what I didn't expect to see in the final product. And today we're going to be doing something very similar, but in this video we're going to be looking at my top 10 predictions for Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon. These are kind of more grounded than the top 10 hopes, and these are actually things I expect to see in the final game. And also, if any of you guys are wondering why I'm on camera for this top 10, I'm actually planning to do more kind of on-camera stuff, and for each top 10 I'll be doing an intro and outro to each. It's just so that people know my face, because when I go to events and I'm actually chatting to someone I know on YouTube, and then they're like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "I'm Twintendo, you know me." And it's like, "Oh, I've just never seen your face." So it was incredibly awkward, and I don't really want any more stuff like that. So yeah, I'll be showing my face a bit more, so get used to it whether you like it or not. But anyway guys, let me know in the comments below what your predictions are for Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon. And if you do enjoy this video, make sure to hit the like button down below, and make sure to subscribe to stay up to date with everything Pokemon. With that being said guys, let's start the video. So in my last Ultra Sun and Moon video, which was my top 10 hopes for the game, one of my main points was how I think Game Freak should get rid of the Festival Plaza and bring back the PSS. However, I don't see Game Freak doing this at all. I think the Festival Plaza is here to stay until the next generation. Now I think there will be a few different shops and new items to obtain in the Festival Plaza for Ultra Sun and Moon, but I don't foresee any major changes or fixes, which is a shame because I don't think the Festival Plaza ever lived up to what Game Freak envisioned. After reading the comments of the last video, I know a lot of you guys agree with me on that. And sure, not everyone has a problem with it, but after its negative reception, Game Freak should definitely make a few tweaks to it at the very least. So a few weeks ago I made a video on the potential of gyms returning to the Pokemon series in Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon, and if you haven't seen the video I'll just summarise it for you. There are 8 lots of land that many people think will be used for gyms, as there are 8 gyms in a region normally. However, even though I think there will be new buildings built in the majority of these locations, I don't think there will be gyms, especially since one of the plots of lands in the Royal Avenue does not look like it can be built on, so I had to dismiss that when I was making that video. So even though I did find a replacement plot of land in the Tapu village to bring it back to 8 plots of land, I just don't think we'll see the return of gyms. The reason for this is because Game Freak made a major change by introducing trials instead of gyms for the Alola region, and even had reasons for it, as inhabitants of the Alola region are very close and respect the nature and habitats of the Pokemon, and that's why they have trials and not gyms. Now would I like to see gyms return for a post game in Ultra Sun and Moon? Absolutely. Will I think it'll happen? Unfortunately, no. So my next prediction is quite an ambitious one, as we've barely seen anything from the new games. However, I'm going to take a shot in the dark with this one. So I'm thinking we will have brand new villains for Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Now when I say villains, I don't mean a new main villain on the same team, but I'm thinking that there will be a new team altogether, similar to how there was a new team in Black and White 2 in the form of Neo Team Plasma. With the reformation of Team Skull and the Ether Foundation at the end of Sun and Moon, everything seemed to be wrapped up quite nicely. However, it wouldn't surprise me to see some ex-members from both sides form a coalition and create a new team. And this is because we already know pretty much everything about the main members of Team Skull and the Ether Foundation. So that's just my gut feeling. However, at the same time, it wouldn't surprise me to see no new team whatsoever, as Game Freak kept the main villains in Pokemon Emerald and Platinum, but I'm going to stick with my decision. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. So in Pokemon Sun and Moon we had a few cameos from past characters such as Red, Blue, Grimsley and even Korus. Now one of my predictions is that we'll see Korus more than we did in the last game, and here's why. For those who don't know the story behind Korus, he was one of the leaders of Neo Team Plasma in Black and White 2, and took a great interest in Black and White Kyurem, as his goal was to discover the true strength of Pokemon. Now in Sun and Moon, which is set after Black and White, Korus has changed his ways and is in the Alola region to research Z moves, as he now believes a Pokemon's true strength comes from the bond it shares with its trainer. Now since Korus researched Black and White Kyurem's fusion with Zekrom and Reshiram, I have a good feeling he'll have something to say about Solgaleo and Lunala's new forms, which seem to be fusions, although I have my doubts about that. Either way, I expect to see more of Korus in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, whether he's in a few cutscenes or maybe he'll be a permanent inhabitant in one of the towns in the Alola region. In Pokemon Sun and Moon we were introduced to Z moves, which were essentially the new gimmick for Generation 7. Now there are 29 of these moves and they are all capable of doing some serious damage. Now some of these Z moves were exclusive to certain Pokemon, such as the Alola starter Pokemon's final forms, as well as Mew, Ash Pikachu and even Marshadow. So it would make perfect sense to give out new Z moves in this game, especially to specific Pokemon that never got them previously, like Solgaleo, Lunala and Necrozma. Those Pokemon are definitely ones you'd expect to have exclusive Z moves. Also, the fact that we see the trainer twist the Z Stone in the first Ultra Sun and Moon trailer suggests that there will be at least something new with Z moves. As I mentioned earlier, the Alola region introduced us to trials for the first time, with all kinds of different trial captains. Now my prediction here is that we'll either have a new trial captain or a new member of the Elite Four. Now a good candidate for this would be Ryuki, who can challenge you when you are the champion of the Alola region. Ryuki is a strong dragon type trainer who would be a perfect fit as a trial captain, as there is an unmanned dragon type trial located in the vast Pony Canyon. However, all the trial captains seem to be inhabitants of Alola, and since we don't know which region Ryuki is from, maybe he would be a better fit as an Elite Four member. Of course, we could get a new trial captain or an Elite Four member we've never seen before, as this is quite a common occurrence in the third entry games, such as Wan replacing Wallace as the Setopolis gym leader in Pokemon Emerald. So next up is another prediction that is quite a bold one, as there is no proof that this might actually happen, but I'm going to stick with it regardless. This prediction is that Solgaleo and Lunala's new forms are not fusions with Necrozma, but something else entirely. Now whatever these new forms turn out to be, I think it'll be very similar to Pokemon Fusion, since I mentioned earlier I expect to see Korus explain these new forms in the new games. Now I can't imagine Game Freak including Pokemon Fusions in the story again, as they don't like repeating themselves in terms of plot, so I think they're going to make it look like Pokemon Fusion when in fact it's something else entirely. Now what could it be? Well, I do have some good ideas, but I will be mentioning them in a later video. But let me know in the comments what you guys think is up with Solgaleo and Lunala's new forms. I'd love to hear what kind of theories you guys have to say. So for my next prediction, we're going to be discussing something very similar to the last point, as I think Ultra Beasts will also get their own unique Necrozma form like Solgaleo and Lunala. So the reason why I believe this will happen is because Solgaleo and Lunala are both classed as Ultra Beasts, which are the same kind of Pokemon that came from the Ultra Space, just like the other beasts. So if these two Pokemon are Ultra Beasts and can take on these brand new forms, then what's stopping the other Ultra Beasts from doing the same? Here's an idea of what a Necrozma form Nihilego could look like, drawn by the very talented Guy Rodwell. Now I definitely think it's possible for these Ultra Beasts to get a new form, especially since Nihilego could change shape when fusing with Lucami at the end of Sun and Moon. So it would be very cool to see how these Ultra Beasts could look with their own Necrozma form. Besides Z moves, one of the biggest new inclusions to Pokemon Sun and Moon was the introduction of Alolan Forms. Now these Alolan Forms were new variants of old Pokemon. Now personally, I thought these Alolan Forms were a little disappointing, as the first ones they showed like Alolan Vulpix, Ninetales, Sandshrew and Sandslash looked fantastic, and then we had the terrible Alolan Dugtrio and Persian. I still don't know what Game Freak were thinking with these two. Anyway, my prediction is that we'll see some new Alolan Forms introduced in Ultra Sun and Moon. There are a few reasons that I think this will happen. Firstly, it's an alternate story to Sun and Moon, so they could add exclusive Alolan Forms to Ultra Sun and Moon that aren't obtainable in the previous games, similar to how there are certain moves you could only have in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire which couldn't be traded to X and Y. And secondly, the Pokemon Company need a reason to sell this game to you guys, give you a reason to actually buy the game. If there are exclusive Alolan Forms in this game that you can't get in Sun and Moon, then more people are more likely to buy it. Now Alolan Forms were only given to Kanto Pokemon last time, and I can't see that changing unfortunately. If new Alolan Forms are introduced however, it would be great if they were given to Pokemon from Gen 2 onwards. So for my number one prediction for Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, I've gone with a fairly simple but exciting one. This is the prospect of exploring new areas in the Alola region. Now sure, this doesn't sound too interesting since that's always expected in third entry Pokemon games, but because they've been making the map more detailed in recent generations, we can see a few areas that we have yet to visit. So on Akala Island there is a golf course on the far right of the island that is not available to the player, and boy was I disappointed, because in my top 10 hopes video for Pokemon Sun and Moon I made last year, I really wanted to be able to visit the golf course and play a Pokemon Golf minigame. But the fact that it wasn't even possible to get onto was a real bummer. Now if we look off to the far right of Akala Island, we can see an island behind some clouds that we weren't able to get to in the previous games. Now for those wondering, this isn't Executor Island, as that is located near Pony Island. So this island seems to have some sort of tree on it as well, but apart from that, not much else is known about it. I was sure it was going to be available in the after game, but it wasn't. In fact, there wasn't even an after game in Sun and Moon. Now the final area we can't reach on the Alola region is located on Ula Ula Island, and no surprise, it's a power plant we can't reach, just like in X and Y. This geothermal power plant is located on Blush Mountain and serves no real purpose, which does make you wonder why it was included in the first place. Plus it isn't the easiest place to get to, which does raise a few questions. Now it wouldn't surprise me that when we get more information on Ultra Sun and Moon, we'll get another look at the region, but there'll be a few changes to it. As this commonly happens in third entry games such as in Pokemon Platinum, the region was snowy, and in Black and White 2 the region was kind of laid out a bit differently as well. So hopefully in Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon we'll have plenty of new areas to explore. So those were my top 10 predictions for Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Let me know in the comments below which predictions you agreed with and you expect to see in the final game. And if you think I missed out any predictions, let me know in the comments as well. And anyway guys, if you did enjoy the video, remember to hit that like button. Your support recently has been insane. It's probably the best the channel's done in a long time. So let's aim for 2,500 likes. That's easily possible with the recent support we've had. And if you want to stay up to date with all things Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon, Pokemon Go, and just everything Pokemon, hit that subscribe button down below. Anyway guys, thank you very much for watching, hope you have an awesome day, and I will see you on the next video. Peace!